Okay, so today we're going to be looking at circle equations that are in a general form instead of the standard form where you can easily read the center and the radius. And basically the way we're going to do this is we're going to convert it to standard form so you can find the center and the radius. So you should definitely pause the video now and take these notes. These notes are going to be super important. So, step one, you're going to get your x and your y terms together. You want to put like your x terms in one area, then your y terms right next to it. Then, for the x and y coefficients, not the x squared or the y squared, you're going to divide by 2 and then square those coefficients. So that's a part that a lot of people forget, but it's the most crucial thing. Next, add the results from step 2 to the left side and the right side of the equation. So you're going to take what you got in here for the x and the y's, and you're going to add it to the x part and the y part of your equation. Then, the constant term, the one without the variables, you're going to subtract or add that to both sides, just so you can cancel it out of the x squared plus y squared side. You want it on the other side. Then you're going to factor your x and your y trinomials into perfect squares. And the easy way to think about this is when you do this dividing by 2 part, basically what you're going to have is x plus whatever you got here and y plus whatever you got here before you square them. And then, you'll square it. You'll see how it goes in the example. And finally, you're just going to read off the center and the radius from the standard form of the circle the same way we have been doing. So let's look at an example. So for step 1, I'm going to group the x's together in red, and I'm going to group the y's together in blue, just to make it really obvious where things are going. So we have x squared minus 2x, and I'm going to leave a little space just because could help. Then we have plus y squared plus 6y, and then finally we have that plus 3 equals 0 part. So step 1, check, done. So now here's what we're going to do. This is kind of think of it as a little aside here. What you want to do is you're going to look at just this negative 2 part on the x. And what you're going to do is negative 2 divided by 2, always divide by 2, and then you square it. So negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1, squared is just 1. So what we're going to do to rewrite this, we're going to end up with x squared minus 2x plus the 1 that we just had. Okay? And we'll deal with that in 1 second. We'll handle that afterwards. And now over here we're going to do the same thing with the 6 terms. So we're going to do 6 divided by 2, which is 3, and 3 squared is 9. So this part of it goes to y squared plus 6y plus 9. And now let's not forget we have plus 3 equals 0. So step 2, check. All right, and now for step 3, I already kind of did half of it. I already put it on the left side of the equation, this 1 and this 9. But in order to balance it out, since we added a 1 here and we added a 9 over here, we have to add those to the right side too. Otherwise, we don't have an equation anymore. We just added a bunch of stuff to the left without doing it to the right. So we have plus 1 and we have plus 9. So now we've taken care of this. These have been added over here. So check on step 3. Now, step 4, we're going to look at this. We're going to look at this plus 3. And basically what we want is we just want this y stuff and this x stuff on the left side. And we want all the constant terms like this over here. So that original constant term, to get rid of it, it's plus 3. So what we want to do is do minus 3 on both sides. And then what we end up with to rewrite this is the same x stuff, x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then the same y stuff, plus y squared plus 6y plus 9. And now we have equals, and I'm just going to combine all of this right now. We have 1 plus 9 minus 3, which gives you 7. So 10 minus 3, 7. That's where that comes from. And check on step 4. Now for step 5. Step 5, what you want to do is this is going to become x something something squared. And then this is going to become y something something squared. And all of that equals 7. And the easy way to figure out what it is, like what the plus or minus whatever goes right here, is you look at this term, the b term in your coefficient, if you're thinking like ax squared plus bx plus c. So the b term is -2, and basically all you want to do for this is divide it by 2. So divide -2 by 2, just like we did here before we squared it. Just divide that by 2, and you'll get x minus 1. And if you want to verify it, by all means, go ahead. Try x minus 1 times x minus 1 and expand it, and I guarantee you'll get x squared minus 2x plus 1. Now, we do the same thing with the y terms. So the b term here is plus 6. So we look at this plus 6 right here. What we want to do is just divide that by 2. We get y plus 3. So right now, we have everything we need. And in case you guys forgot, the equation for a circle in standard form is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where hk is the center and r is the radius. So what we do here, we're going to flip the signs to find the center, because that minus in the general formula, like those two minus signs right there, means essentially you want to flip the sign. So the center, we take this -1, we change it to a +1. We take the +3, we change it to a -3. And we just took those both from right here. And now, if you notice, the formula says radius squared. So in our case, our radius squared equals 7. So to find the actual radius, you got to take the square root. And in our case, our radius is radical 7. It's an irrational number. These things are fine. So here's your answer. The center of this circle is at 1, -3, and the radius is radical 7.